Good evening, everybody. Michael Devine here, America's counselor with Gray Matters Radio, coming at you. Another installment. We're still going. Episode 41. I didn't think we'd actually make it this far, but, I mean, Phil, did you think we'd make it this far?
I had a hunch we would.
I didn't actually think you'd actually make it, period. You weren't even with us last week.
I'm around.
I know you were. From the hospital bed, texting and rocking it out.
Well, I mean, if you believe in that whole Western medicine thing, I don't know.
I think it's a little overrated. I mean...
The price tag sure isn't.
We're not going to talk about healthcare tonight. I mean, technically, well, I guess by proxy we could talk about healthcare, but we're not going to be talking about healthcare.
We're not talking
We're
about healthcare.
not going to be talking about it. We're actually going to be talking about one of your and I's favorite topics, Area 51.
Yes. I like Area 51.
I know.
It's a great video game. I remember playing that back in the 90s, the arcade game, Area 51, the shoot 'em up.
Oh, I do.
Yes.
Yeah, that was actually a really cool game.
It was pretty good, and, I've always been into extraterrestrials and, conspiracy theories in general, and that has always been something that's kind of, been interesting to me. So
I'm just excited because, this is one of those things where you and I, growing up, we always talked about aliens, Area 51, Roswell, and so for once, because it's not really the whole point of the show. I mean, aliens and whatever. I mean, I love that stuff, right? But it's not this particular show. But for once, I was able to work Area 51 into Gray Matters, and I'm actually kind of excited about it, But so we had to bring our man, Stelzer. What's up, buddy?
Gentlemen, how you doing?
Yeah, doing good, man.
Ryan
I'm
Stelzer.
still figuring out how the hell you went golfing today. I mean, literally, Bill and I were outside with our kids. Bill was slip and sliding,
pool, yeah.
and we were just like, I'm done. And somehow you went.
I figured earlier this week they were calling for 96. Once it came down to 92, I figured it was all in.
It gets so hot at a certain point, it doesn't matter. It's hot, right?
I will say that in Texas, it really was one of those things to where when it got to 108, 106, you almost do go into this almost PTSD, disassociative, almost is it hot? I don't know. I don't feel it. It feels cold almost. It is you really do somehow become completely obtuse to it, but I don't know. It was hot today.
Yeah.
I mean, humidity has really kicked your butt. So I always knew you were a man. I mean, you're a man, right? I mean,
Well, I kept the cart in the shade.
yeah. You're dedicated to the cause, my man.
Kept the cart in the shade.
So we could get you in rare forms. You're probably half dehydrated. Heat
I
stroke.
was just gonna ask, were you drinking the Coors Lights today, or were you sticking to the water and the Gatorade, or was it a combination?
Well, usually we come off the first tee with the Coors Light. Today we were smart enough to leave them in the bag for a few holes.
Sure.
Every time I try drinking when it's this hot, because I have to drink so much water, I almost feel like I can't even get drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one time we went out golfing in Texas. It was it was 100, 103. We even tried, timing it just right. And I remember I was sitting there trying to get drunk, but I had to keep drinking Gatorade and water. And my stomach was like a camel because I drank so much. And then it was I tried to drink beer. Dude, it wasn't happening. It just, I just kind of gave up. So imagine how those people, when they raid Area 51, are going to feel running to a hot desert with bullets and UFOs kind of coming after them.
Wait, you mean the country boy from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, who's never been anywhere and then decides to take a road trip out to the desert to storm this Area 51 place is not going to be
take on the federal government?
It's going to be like the opposite of when the Germans invaded Russia during World War II and were ill-equipped for the Russian winters and how harsh they were going to be. But it's gonna, it works the other way. So
it's all right. So I'm gonna do a little preface here. Okay, why are we talking about this? Because this kind of does deviate a little bit. At least it seems that way on the surface. So obviously, unless if you've been trapped underneath a rock for the last 3 or 4 weeks, there's been a lot going on, right? We almost went to war with Iran, right? We have a joke of the Democratic debates. We have the whole racism stuff rearing its head again. We got the squad, the 4 Democrats and Trump going after it. It's every week we seem to have a lot kind of going on, right? And we almost seem have almost a complete inability to solve any of the problems. I mean, our debt is growing at a ridiculous rate between less money coming in, more going out, It don't matter if you're Democrat, Republican. Ain't no one caring about that. And
Ain't nobody got time for that.
nobody. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. I mean, can you look at over 51% of all the money we make goes towards debt.
If the federal government was a business, I don't think we would still be
We
in
would be,
business.
yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, but think about it, though. I mean, like, in any of our lives, if over half of our money was being paid credit card debt,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to survive. And that's what's happening. And so we're squabbling over, I mean, like, literally the 9/11 benefits, right? You know, Rand Paul's like, well, you know, we have to be mindful of budget. Like, this is where you draw the line. It's like, you know, upper wealthy 1%. Yeah, let's give them more money. Hopefully it trickles down, right? Giveaways to everybody. But 9/11 responders, that's where we're drawing a line of fiscal responsibility.
Yeah, quit trying to bleed us dry, 9/11 responders.
I know.
Like, come on, man.
I'm sitting there watching this, and my head wants to explode, but you know, I know better than to kind of get riled up with it, because that's kind of what they.
Well, and that's like a unifying thing. The left and the right are both going, man, that's really messed up. Like, you're not going to give them what they need, or you're not going to give them the benefits. Like, there's not many people out there, I think, that are into politics on any level that are going to be against that. I don't think.
No, and that's the thing, and it's like if. Things are so backwards in this government. I mean, can we all agree? Democrat, Republican, gray, show of hands, is it kind of messed up what's going on in this country? Do you have any faith, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter who's in, that they can somehow develop legislation to solve the problems that face us? Does anyone have any confidence?
You can't, right?
Yeah, no, it's a shit show. I mean, it's
Yeah.
obviously gotten much better under the current administration that has most recently with Obama, but it's a shit show altogether.
Well, what it's basically turned into, and I do know where Trump and a lot of his supporters are coming from, is that it's so bad. You basically, no one can give in to the other side. Like, hey, I'll do you a solid, because it looks like you've lost, and it's going to get used against you in your own primary even now. I mean, it's like.
That's why you can't get any help on the border.
You can't.
They don't want to give a win to Trump.
Exactly.
'Cause then
You
they look
can't.
like
You cannot give a win to him,
the other
right?
side, right.
And it's gotten so bad where, well, it is gang war. You did this to me, then I'm going to do this to you. I can't
Right.
do this. So you
We're
do.
not helping ourselves.
You got it. So then now you do have to railroad things through, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're either going to railroad it through and piss everybody off even more, which then doubles down on the problem. You have like Obamacare, where if you look at the original Obamacare provisions, it actually had some great stuff in there, but they had to water everything down. Like, for instance, the thing that I realized where this deal was done was when they had in there, let's build community health centers. So instead of going to the ERs, if you're uninsured, you can go to these ERs where we control the cost, we control the doctors that go in there, what we pay them, the equipment, everything will be under, and no one wanted to pay for it. And hospitals are bankrupt because of that, but you could control the cost of unsubsidized Medicaid, Medicare healthcare, right? But then they gutted it, right? So even if you get something through and have to do it bipartisanly, quote unquote, whatever bill you're going to pass is going to be a shell of its former self, right? So our government is hopelessly broken, and you know, and this is my opinion. I want to get your guys' opinion. All right, I personally think dysfunction at this level is there not because we're in a bad negative cycle, it's because there's so many people that benefit from the confusion and chaos because they're benefiting. So they're going to keep pouring more gas on because it keeps the system balanced in their direction. The lobbyists, the lobbying dollars, how things get done.
That's where it is,
yeah. Last week, you guys weren't here for it, so we had Dr. Eric Larson on there, who's best friends with Justin Amash, the congressman left the GOP, and he was like, listen, don't make this about, because they're hardcore libertarians. He goes, don't make this about this was a thing on the Republicans. No, he was making a statement about the political parties themselves.
In general.
Yeah, and he was what he was saying is that what Amash has basically been telling him is that a lot of the power is within the party leadership and their rules. Like all the PAC money, all the election money, it dangles over your head going, we're not going to give you anything you go against. That's what the whip does, the House minority majority whip. You're going to vote the way we want you to, and if you don't. Now, Amash was able to walk away because, one, he's won so many hard battles, primary battles, Democratic battles, where he's kind of battle-tested, and he goes, he only got like 0.1% of the PAC money. So he's like, oh, no, don't take away 0.1% of my funding. So he had the ability, but what he started trying to make a comment about is that nothing's going to get done in this country because being part of a party I'm not doing what's best for the people that voted for me. I'm doing what's best for the party.
Right.
And I can't be part of the party and do what's best for the people. And so that's why he did that. And he even alluded to the fact that there's a lot of other people on both sides that feel the same way. But because they're so scared of getting outvoted, then someone that would just take their place. And then you get fooled into, well, I think I can make a difference still being on the inside, trying to change it. But but what Amash has been telling him is that it's a mirage. You can't. But it's just one thing, another thing. So that's what I think why the government's so screwed up. The power structure wants dysfunction because they benefit the balance from it. B-Ray, what do you think? Why do you think things are the way they are right now in our government?
I think part of the reason is it's just classic misdirection, where you make a big loud noise over here, boom, boom, boom. Look over here. Look at this. This is what's messed up. And it's not saying it's not a big deal. I'm not saying that like a border wall is not an issue to talk about. But what everyone's making a big deal about a border wall, either yay or nay, all the politicians, meanwhile, are lining their pockets, like you said, with special interest groups.
Yeah.
So I think some of these politicians, or a lot of these politicians, are making all these noises. Oh, yeah, we really need to focus on this, or this is the problem at the same time, because I don't want you to see what I'm doing over here.
Yeah.
So, they steer the attention, and we're going to, because all of a sudden, like, look what we're bickering over. And I'm not saying these aren't important issues, but all of a sudden, the 9/11, and I'm not saying that Rand Paul is doing this as a misdirection, but just for example, the 9/11 benefits, like, you're not going to give them to them?
How do you not get that? Yeah.
Like I said before, you tell me how that should not be a clean sweep of vote on both the left and the right aisle.
Yeah.
On something like that. But I think sometimes
we can't agree on that.
If we can't agree on that, I don't know what it's like saying free puppies for all. No, and one person going, no, we should put them all down.
That's
wow,
literally
what's wrong with you.
and that's impressive. So, all right, so Bill's kind of agreeing to me. It's just like that misdirection. Stels, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you have a different viewpoint of it?
That's a good point. I agree with the misdirection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, why do they want misdirection then? Well, then the logic, their hypothesis that I come up with is that, well, they benefit from it. By things being messed up, they have the system basically geared towards them. I mean, it's what, if you really look at what Citizens United was basically about. Mm-hmm. Citizens United was going, well, you can't say a corporation can't give money to a PAC or whatever and limit their money because that's limiting their free speech. Right. And you can't limit free speech, right? So, so they could argue, so maybe 1% of businesses in this country, so they can have unfettered money to have a free voice. You basically eliminated the voice of 99% of the population because whoever gets to meet with a congressman are the ones that have money and have lobbied and gave money to them, right? So it's like, if we were to take away the power of money to these lobbyists, if they're lobbying and gumming up the system for misdirection, for congressmen to just vote and do things for them, technically speaking, if you took away the power that their money had, well, couldn't they technically give $1 million and a congressman going, I don't want that? That's not seriously, like, you made it to where if any congressman or senator or politician took money from said business, right, and then if they would lose the election because they took that money and they were only doing stuff that benefited them, well, then wouldn't that technically take away lobbying power in this country? If the people you could not get not necessarily a penalty, just like you could not get elected if the people knew.
You would never be able to convince the politicians to not accept the money and not. It's like that scene out of a.
But they lost though. If somebody knew, let's say, oh, I took money from, let's say it was I don't know, Company X that was purposely trying to get legislation to allow them to basically put their workers in more harm because of environmental and safety and basically pay them less, okay? And if their constituents, the voters, knew that that's exactly what they were doing, and then let's going, well, if you take that money from Company X, I'm not going to vote for you.
Well, it's very simple. I mean, you have to basically ban or outlaw companies or corporations from being able to donate money to political organizations.
Well, you can do that, but you think that shit's not coming in the back door?
I agree. But what I'm saying is, though, but they can do it now, and they have it under guises, and they do it to where you don't certain ways where you don't have to name who all's giving the money, and there's a reason why they keep it.
So think about it like this. All right. So if I say Enron, what's the first word that comes to mind?
Ken Lay.
Wait,
I don't remember what all went down with them, but I knew it fraud.
right?
Yeah, fraud.
Fuck,
Pyramid scheme.
Yeah, total. Yeah, it's a total pyramid energy scheme, right?
Yeah.
If anyone
That's
were
like
to take money,
2002 or something like
yeah.
that.
So like, if anyone were to take money from like Enron right now, what would happen in public?
Are they still in business?
Yeah, think about how much
can't be.
people. You have people giving money back now. That Epstein gave. You have people
Oh,
going,
yeah,
oh,
they're like,
should we?
shit,
I
we
mean,
don't
hell,
want
yeah.
this.
You have a lot of
Supposedly he
people.
donated to Ohio State. I heard.
Yeah.
No.
Not much.
Let's not spread rumors, Ryan.
Hey,
Allegedly.
Rumors
Allegedly.
hurt.
But that's my point though. If Jeffrey Epstein gave me money like yesterday and you didn't give it back, that's your election right there. That's
true.
the thing. If you can't get rid of the money, you're right. It's going to be backdoored. But if people know that where your money, who gave it to me, and then not only that, they could put two and two together and go, wait a minute, this isn't actually best for me. No matter how much you're trying to convince me, and no matter how much research you've done, I know that's only going to benefit this person, and you're only going to do it because they gave you $10 million.
Well, we all know that's how it works. The problem is that most of us don't care because, like you said earlier, it's a whole gang.
We
mentality.
care until we don't care. So how many people gave a shit about, or even knew the Betsy Ross flag was somehow associated with slavery?
It's not associated with slavery. It
All
just
right.
happened to be the flag while
All
slavery
right.
was going on.
So excellent point. All right. But because you could use a social media activism campaign, how long did it take? What, 2 days?
to fire people.
Yeah.
To
2
fire
days
people
before
up.
Nike said that we're gonna not sell them anymore, and then if anything, we're gonna buy them back.
Well,
In 2 days.
Let me ask you
on
something. Mike.
something that is, it's technically right and wrong depending on what side of the coin you're on.
Well, here's why I think it's ridiculous, because you're taking a flag that has historical meaning, and that did happen during slavery, no doubt, which is a terrible time in our country. But to say that that flag only represents slavery and only stands for this, I'm like, you're simply dismissing everything else that the flag stood for. The oppression that we got away from, real or imagined, from England. Okay? Like, why always bring, and that's what kills me with some liberals sometimes, is like, everything with them is so negative, and everything is just, and I'm not saying it's perfect. We're far from perfect. We have a lot of issues, but sometimes liberals, and conservatives too, but liberals lately, in the last few years, have just seemed like so whiny about everything, and everything is just messed up, and this place is terrible, and this country
That's why Trump's comments were great when he said,
Well,
leave,
well,
come back, don't come back. We don't give a
and
shit.
I'm not saying it's perfect, and you know what? It's ironic because, you know, I voted for Obama in 2012, and had you asked me then,
Jesus Christ, Bill.
I would. Well, I didn't.
I
like-
didn't.
God.
I voted for him in 08, not 12.
I didn't
God
like.
damn it.
I didn't like Romney.
For the record, I
s-
never voted for him.
I still don't like Romney.
Just so everyone knows, Stelzer did
in
not
case
vote.
there was anybody out there that wasn't
No,
sure.
but what I'm saying is, but back in 2012,
Just saying, everybody.
Anybody that was in the gray.
This might be gray
to
matter,
stay on
but
theme.
this side of the studio did not vote for
A
him.
very red side of the room over
but that's my point though. Is like I don't have. I'm not like stuck or aligned with
You're that Ohio
Yeah.
Midwest independent we talked
But
about, right?
what I'm saying is a difference I've seen in the last 7 years from the liberal side has been not a good one. I don't think.
Yeah.
They went from being like the more of the freedom party, so to speak, more like, hey, we're trying to change things. We're trying. The conservatives, the Republicans seem like the man.
Yeah.
Like the kind of keep you down, follow our rules. This is very conservative. I mean, the conservatives, but this is how it needs to be. The man. We're now, as trying to be a neutral person, I see a lot of liberals, a lot of Democrats, and they're saying, and the things they say, they come across as almost like being the new man. You need to believe in this. You need to be offended by that.
Or you're a racist. If you don't
need to,
agree with them, you're
you
a
need to
goddamn
follow
racist.
right. And
Yeah.
I'm going, wait a minute.
That's unbelievable.
I don't agree with some of the things you say, but now, as a former Obama supporter, I've been labeled a racist,
Jesus.
and I'm going,
Well,
wait a
keep
minute.
saying
well,
that.
the
How
problem.
am I a racist?
Well, I think the problem is that we're going to get into it. If this is how we're redefining the past, dude, everything is going to be fucked up.
Yeah, everything was fucked up in the past.
Every country, every modern society
Right.
was founded by people that were less than kosher, to put it nicely. Like
we're getting
you
better
know,
as a country. We're not
Yeah.
getting
Right.
worse. So if you're going to say, well, things were that flag came out, I want to say in like 1774 5, I think, but don't quote me on that.
They want to go back
Did-
14 fucking generations.
We didn't have electricity. A lot of things were fucked up back then.
right.
Like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to tell you? I wasn't even around then.
Well, it's getting to a dangerous place where everything is our own reality. And this is where these social activism things, where it's like, it doesn't even technically have to be true, or it's true at an angle, and you get that many millions of people in literally within a day or two. Yeah, within a day or two. And that's all it took to get a $1 billion company to go, oh shit, right? Because why? I don't want to be labeled as a racist. I don't want to lose money. That scared the shit out of them.
Did you happen to see the meme I posted a couple days ago?
I did, yeah.
I see all your memes.
That was a
They're
good
so
one.
funny.
Some of them I'll be like...
Not us, we got us a real bitch.
There's 50-50.
Did I see that one?
Nah,
Maybe.
yeah,
Yours is
pass
always
it this
like
way.
50-50. Like 50% of I'm shaking my head, like come on. The other 50% I'm going, that is awful. While I'm sitting there going, that shit was hilarious.
No, Mike, that
50%
idea.
of you can't admit to enjoy.
Do you know
No,
where that?
you can't,
Do you know where that idea for that Betsy Ross flag came from? Who gave Betsy Ross that idea?
Oh no.
It was aliens, man.
Oh,
Aliens
Betsy Ross telling
from the future. They traveled back in time and said, "This is the flag to use."
You're telling me that George Washington didn't come home and
on Mount Vernon, hanging out. And
But this is the point though, where it was like on something that was only true at an angle, or maybe true for X amount of people, you got $1 billion company within 2 days to get so scared, right? We have Area 51, right? We've been talking about Area 51. I mean, Bill and I have been talking about it for a while. For those of you who don't know, there's an area out in Nevada. It's the Nevada testing range. In the 40s, 50s, and 60s, they did a ton of nuclear testing there. There's a great documentary, actually. It's called Trinity and Beyond. It's images of all the nuclear
739 nuclear tests, to be exact.
Between like Nevada test range and Bikini Atoll. So this area in the Groom Lake area, they developed like Skunk Works was basically where they made that's like the little code name they had for it. That was like they made the SR-71 Blackbird, the stealth bomber, stealth fighter. There's been a lot of testing and everything out there, but basically, rumor had it back in the 40s when a UFO allegedly crashed in Roswell. Initially, they took the crash and the remains to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base out here in Columbus, not Columbus, in Dayton, Ohio.
That was the rumor.
Because that was a really big research base at the time, right?
Yeah.
And so then when they stopped doing a lot of nuclear testing out in the Groom Lake complex, there's like basically 3 or 4 different bases allegedly out there. And so the Groom Lake bed, that's where Area 51 technically was, right? And so you can have really long runways, and so they started building this complex. Now, where the mystique started happening is when camcorders and videos started coming out. People always talked about weird things that they saw, but it was right about the late 80s, early 90s is when people were going out there with cameras and catching it. Now, couldn't really see it, but there were some odd things going on. I mean, we saw planes that allegedly defying the laws of physics, and so, and then allegedly, the rumor of like the alien remains were then transferred from Wright-Patterson to pretty much Area 51.
Like Independence Day.
Yeah, Area 51 then basically became the research lab. Now, conspiracy theories then jumped from there. I mean, literally.
Well, then the internet was born, and then,
oh god,
I mean,
there's
like adding gasoline to a already bonfire. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
and then some.
Yeah.
Well, and then basically what started happening is that we started having multiple people started coming out and basically saying that, well, I was an employee of Area 51, and
Ryan and I were kind of talking about that.
Yeah, there's a documentary. Oh, dang it, off the top of my head, can't think of his name. I'll think of it here in a second. And it was one of those where, well, he said he was a Cal Berkeley researcher. No record of him, of course, when they go and look for him. But then if you look at the lab, like the lab admin, he's listed on there.
Well, it's a black site. I mean, that's what it is. It's
no. Well,
listed.
He said he worked for it. I gotta look this up.
I mean, Area 51 in and of itself, up until I think 2012, wasn't even acknowledged as a real place by our government. You pay for it. It comes from your tax dollars. I got to tell you, they're not holding, lemonade stand sales, and they're not, anything like that to raise funds from taxpayers. But they consider us children, so you can't know what's going on there.
They consider us children. Well put.
Absolutely. Oh no, it's for us. Matters of national security.
For having a bad dome, that's pretty. Consider us children.
I try to tell them that in the hospital. I was like, you know what? I think it was the aliens implanted something in me. My wife was like, don't say that.
Yeah.
Don't tell them that. I said, oh, come on.
Last weekend, my mom said she couldn't take being quarantined in this room. She said, I might try to hang myself. They're like, no, fucking don't say that. They'll put you in the fucking cycle.
That's what my wife told me. She was like, don't joke about that. It's okay.
So this is where, so the guy's name was Bob Lazar. And Bob Lazar basically said, hey, I was studying. They brought me in to study it. And so, like, literally, it was like, no one really believed him because he was kind of a weird kind of dude. He didn't like technically make a lot of money. He just came out in the 80s, but then I worked at Cal Berkeley. We don't know who he is, but then you have literally a journal like article, and it has a listing of all the staff at Cal Berkeley Research. His name is listed on there. So it started creating these really odd mystiques of on the surface you go and ask about this person, no, but then you'd find these random things in there where it said he was, which then added to it, going, look, that purposely shows that they're trying to whitewash that this guy didn't exist. And so he's basically saying, hey, we've been researching, we reverse engineer this technology to try to figure out how to use it ourselves. And so that's what you're basically seeing. And multiple people have come out. And so many conspiracy theories have spotted up, but Area 51 in that whole testing range, there's like 3 or 4 other bases that are out there. Majority of people say it's underground. That even though you see a lot on the surface, that majority of it is way deep down underground.
They got a couple above ground. Oh, it's got to be above ground, but they have a couple of runways.
Yeah. Allegedly, there's a whole underground complex where aliens live, and we work basically with them. It's there's one called the Dulce Wars, where basically this guy.
They live underground.
Yeah, and he was digging for a base, and a wall broke. It gets crazy.
You had me at crash dead alien bodies. I can buy that.
Now there's a weird.
I'll dip my toe in.
Now,
Now
the thing is, we know at first the government denied that it existed, and then they said it existed, right? And then all of a sudden, people were Then when camera technology got really good, the government they had one mountain that everyone would hike up to miles away.
Yes.
They bought that one out, and then there was one behind that one, and then now that technology, they're trying to buy that one out. There's all these cases where
trying to
people
spread it out.
So and you look at the videos of what they're taking, and it's like, now, is it alien? Is it just our tech? I don't know, but you're looking at some stuff we're going, human beings cannot even physically do some of those.
I can tell you, for example, one of our good friends, Dave Ferlini, friend of the show, he told me, this is definitely a couple...
Name drop.
Yeah, name drop. The Italian stallion himself. No, he told me a couple decades ago that he had a cousin who was in the Air Force or something like that. And he said the stuff, so like the Blackbird, for example, when that was finally declassified and supposedly that had already been out for like 20 years.
Stealth technology came out in the early 70s. So that's what a lot of people say, that, some of these things that you're seeing out there are just way advanced technology. They're still
so
classified.
They're like, we don't know what it is.
But the thing is, then there's also a lot of people. My dad has told me some stories of when his time in the military and stuff where you're going, okay, there's some things going on, now. What's true, what isn't true? That's technically up for debate tonight. I mean, we can make 100 shows. I mean, hell, Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell.
We're still guessing.
And we're still, he's been
Bell.
trying to figure it out for God knows how long. And so, but the whole point is that.
You guys hear something, or am I losing my mind?
Say what? Oh no, I think that's yeah.
Okay.
So now here's the deal, all right? So, and here's what here's what point of tonight's show is, right? So, you have these guys that basically, you know what? If there's like 1 million of us, and I think, Bill, we've talked about this, I think, over the years of, okay, if you were to get a lot of people and all just bum rush it, they can't stop all of you, right? And I'd love to see them shoot innocent.
It's like the election. If how many people vote? Like 30% of eligible voters? Yeah. Imagine if everybody voted and said, this is the third party candidate. You would win.
So the
same concept.
So their thing was, okay, well, let's see how many people. And so once it hit the news, it went from like 50,000, 100. Now it's 1.5 million.
Did you see what the military said? They said something along the lines of like, we will protect our assets
Yeah.
by any means
But
necessary.
the thing is that this group is like, well, we know people are going to get shot. But it's like, how many of them can they shoot before some of them get in?
We're willing to give up 8% to get to the goal.
I'm going to go on record right now.
That's the whole point. It's
I'm going to go on record right now.
You're going to see me in that fucking group.
Saying this.
I ain't going to be one of the 8%.
If our military shoots a bunch of unarmed people, and I don't care what they're doing, if you shoot a bunch of unarmed people, right?
There'll be an uprising.
This is going to make the shooting at Kent State. This is going to make the race riots
times 9
of what this is going to make.
Well, I think
you can forget about the Mueller investigation. You can forget. This is going to be
cancel Mueller.
Well, see, I get where, but I think the Kent is a bad explanation because these people are technically. Because let's for shits and giggles.
Now, if they have weapons, if I'm the government, you better be planting some guns on these people that you're shooting.
Now, I thought about this, right? Now, I would love to know what's in there, right? I would love to know. I'm the one in there. I'm 50-50. I think something is there, right?
Unless there's an alien body or a UFO, you're not going to know what you're looking at.
But here's my whole point, though, is that so let's say for shits and giggles, let's say it is half alien, all right? Or let's say none of it is, but it's just top of the top secret, right? All I know is that if I'm like trying to get inside there, if I'm a foreign national, I'm just going to be part of this group, right? So now put yourself in our government up. This is our top secret, our best of our best research, the shit that no one can know about but us, right?
Well, how are they going to
have that? But you got to look at though.
Don't they have a big vault door?
But banks do.
I don't know, but that's
PNC Bank does.
Let's put that out there. That's logic, right? We get sidetracked with it. But the whole point is that if I'm a government, wouldn't that scare the shit out of you, knowing like I may have 1 million people running in here, and maybe 50 of them could be secret agents?
Power numbers, you can overtake anybody.
So you gotta sit there and go, what do you do? Happen. Do you just let them walk in?
No, because I think First of all, I think that whatever facility they have is secure enough. Like we were talking about earlier, they have vault doors.
I think they're gonna be. They can knock all day long. You could run a bum rush 1 million people, and guess what? That door ain't moving. That shit's all underground.
What I'm saying.
And somebody said it best. I was reading like the comments on the board, going, if they really have aliens and they can like go into multiple, don't you think they can move that shit?
Right.
They have a whole. Because they have a whole underground complex.
What, you give them like a 2 or 3 month notice?
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is that allegedly all the bases in those areas are all connected underground. If anything is bad, they're gonna move that. And there's anything really bad.
You think they didn't have a fucking plan B?
Dude, come on. But it was this interesting. I was reading this, and I think it's absurd. Right? They ain't gonna find shit, right? Even if they allow them to run it, a lot of them are getting arrested. They're not going to get in because they're going to have they probably have like force fields and shit, right? If you touch it, you probably shit yourself or something and start dancing. I don't know. But what got to me was that they got over 1 million people signed up with another 500 grand and interested. And so here we have something like as ridiculous as storming Area 51. That's the thing they chose was going to be my thing.
Right.
You have Colin Kaepernick going, Betsy Ross Nike shoes, right?
He's like,
you
have Betsy Ross.
You have millennials like going after La Croix water because like they said natural flavoring really isn't natural, right? We have, literally,
I almost forgot about that.
I
hadn't heard about that one.
Yeah, you have
sounds
like
very millennial. Though.
Oh, dude, so millennial, right? You have the whole the straw thing, the plastic straw thing.
Yeah.
You know. Literally, we could go all day long.
You ever try to drink out of a paper straw?
It doesn't work.
I have a couple times.
Not very functional.
No, I'm all about. I am all about preventing
for 8 seconds.
I am all about microplastics, and trying to get. We got to figure something out, but it's fucking stupid. Come on, right? But this is the whole point. It's like
collapses.
This is the shit that people are deciding to use the awesome power of the internet
refocus our energy.
Exactly, and that's where I wanted. That's where I was like, Area 51. This is the way to bring it back to the gray of like, wait a minute. We're sitting there every day talking about how messed up our government is, how powerless we are, and it's like you can get $1 billion company within 2 days to stop doing what they're doing, apologize, even though they know it's probably bullshit, and then get a shoe recalled. You can get over 1.5 million people to storm a fucking military base.
Okay, well, hold on now. You get 1.5 million people signing up, which means 1,000 people are actually going to do it.
I think a lot more.
Oh, you got 1.5 million.
What is your prediction for September 20th. Like when it's all said and done. Forget about the government
It's the
warnings.
day before my birthday. I predict I'll probably have a few drinks.
I think honestly, I think
Stelzer might be leading the charge after a few cocktails.
I think you'll probably get maybe.
I get to 41.
I think 30% will probably show up. 30%.
Which means 5% will actually do something.
The
government will have some people, their own agents in disguise or in plain clothes.
It is going to be
trying to talk people out of it. Man, we don't want to do this.
But here's the thing: like, if they're successful, even if they're successful in getting that many people to get there and just make a scare,
where are they going to go?
Well, my whole thing is like, wouldn't that scare somebody? How many? Like, imagine you got enough people together to bum rush the White House, Congress, the Senate. That's scary as shit. If you ask me. When do you start? Let's be honest here. The reason why our government, as we all said, is our government is completely corrupt and paralyzed and polarized because of the wealthy in this country are using it to their advantage, right? If you get people pissed off about our government in Area 51 on something they don't even know is true, how long do we get a bum rush people to start storming, let's say, Times Square and pull all the rich people out? How long time do you get to where they bum rush the White House? I mean, and that's scary to me. I'm all about social disruption. I'm all about we need to make things big. But what scares me of what's going on with Antifa and all this, you get enough people together, now all of a sudden we have people doing dumb shit. Like the Area 51 is like, dude, what if they actually do get some secrets and fuck some things up?
It's just taking another level or step towards crazy.
Yeah, and that's where it's just like, well, we're so angry about how messed up the government is, and it's like, well, why are we not sitting there and taking the top list of lobbyers and the ones that are gumming up the government? Why is it that we don't unleash that power on them and change the world? Because think about it, if we can do that with Nike, imagine if people started being really honest about the lobbying and, climate change. You can sit there and go, okay, is it man-made or not? You can't deny the fact that like in places like there's this town that it was today, 500 miles from the Arctic Circle. They had a high temperature of it was 70 degrees. Now the thing is though, note the previous high record was 46. It's unheard of. You don't get oscillations like that. We had Anchorage, Alaska, had a high of 90 on 4th of July. So, and when we have companies like ExxonMobil, who in the 70s had internal documents, and you can look this up. This isn't me just like, they had internal documents acknowledging burning of fossil fuels has a direct connection with climate change. And so if we start having billion dollar, at what point do we sit there and go, companies like Cargill and all these big Exxon Mobils, the oil companies, these companies that are destroying our environment, and they're destroying it because they want to save money and not worry about any of that bullshit, right? They say they'll fire people because, well, if we do this, we're gonna have to raise prices, but yet, or you guys can take a couple less billion at the top and have one less house, pay your people more, and have clean air and water, right? We have autism, which went from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 67. I don't know about you, but that would scare the shit out of me. We have pharmaceutical companies making billions off of a drug that they lied.
What is your theory on the autism?
That was actually the first episode we ever did.
Out of curiosity? Well, we had a show on this. We'll be different show, different time.
But I disagree. I'm wondering.
I think when it's that widespread, I think, and we know it more men have it than girls. We know it's a whole brain dysfunction. We are identifying a lot more genetics to it. I personally think it's a complication, what we call epigenetics, where it's the interplay of your environment and genetics, and how your environment can make certain genetic components come out. So, for example, like schizophrenia is one of the biggest thing it has the highest what we call concordance rate, meaning if you have two identical twins, if one has schizophrenia, there's a 67% chance the other one will. Same exact genetics, right? Yeah. But 67%. Now, if it were 100, it'd be like, well, it's genetics. Well, then obviously it's not 100%. But the fact that it's 67%, we know it's still largely genetics. So that's where we're at with science. We're trying to figure out the interplays between them. And so I think it's an interplay of genetics, maybe even like a stage of evolution, and I think something in our environment, and it just keeps getting worse.
I was going to say genetics doesn't explain the increase.
Well, epigenetics is something in the environment can then push those genetic factors to start coming out.
Oh, okay.
So that's what epigenetics is. So you could have a gene that says you're going to get cancer, but depending on how you live your life will dictate whether or not that gene. Yeah, that would dictate whether or not that gene comes out.
As a matter of fact.
So, and this is where these people in power, because we don't understand scientific method, at least the majority of people don't, they use that to their advantage to get us confused, to get, well, read this, but don't read this. Well, read this paper our researchers put out, and then anything else that was done by anybody else, well, that's a conflict of interest. And it's like, well, you paid them to come to that conclusion. And so they're doing it for their own gain and own good, right? So if we're really that pissed off about why our government is stuck, where our Congress isn't making decisions that's best for us, the people, it's best for the corporations, it's best for the power structure, and a lot of people are arguing they're direct plants. So why isn't it that instead of going after Nike for a fucking shoe, right, that why can't we go after these big companies that are legitimately making it to where we can't pass health care?
I got a question for you. Excuse me. So if we're getting record highs up near the Arctic Circle, I'm just scanning through here the Wikipedia page of Area 51 because it's on the internet, so you know it's true. One of the conspiracy theories of Area 51 is that they are developing weather control in Area 51. So my thought is, or my question to you, if we can control the weather,
Project HARP. Actually, it's a legit Project HARP.
I have zero doubt that our government and many governments have at least looked into this possibility. I have zero doubt of this.
They're just going to push buttons and make it sunny in 84.
But my question is, if we have weather control, then why do we have global warming? When they just push the button and be like, nope, we're good.
No more of that.
Well,
I think I think
problem solved. Don't we want weather control?
Well, a lot of it,
fun,
a lot of it came out of the Project HARP, which was the attempt to try to manipulate weather. I mean, hell, the Chinese have been trying to do like cloud seeding. The Russians have been messing around with it. It's just
fucking Russians.
Yeah, I mean, there's some research out there with like how do you stop maybe hurricanes, but I mean, dude, we can't. It's so bullshit because we don't even have the supercomputing power to calculate our weather models, let alone understand the weather enough to manipulate. It's like, come on.
I bet you
exactly. No, it's like,
I bet the supercomputer from the movie Superman 3 could probably do it.
Well,
remember that shit?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of. I always had this idea for a book where it's like, the whole like where man is smart enough to get to a certain level, but we're at our level where we can't do it ourselves. But we're smart enough to, but we're smart enough to create artificial intelligence that will bridge the gap for us. But the dilemma is, are we smart enough to create the AI and the computers that can bridge the gap and help us solve all these problems that we need to, or are we just smart enough to create it, but have it destroy us in the process?
Like
I don't know.
Like Hal from Space Odyssey 2001.
Yeah. So that's the question we got to ask ourselves. And we know we need it, but the problem is, though, is like, are we smart enough, or is our greed where people are going to use it for nefarious purposes? And that's the problem.
Greed's always going to win out.
Yeah.
It just is.
It's what's human nature, right?
Well, it is.
But this is where we're at, though, as a country right now, to where we've finally seen for once the awesome power of the electorate, where you organize people, and in one felt swoop, they all believe in it, and they sick people in the right way. You will get change within a day or two, right? So, I mean, think about, I was looking at the lobbying dollars, right? So, what would you say is number one in 2018 of all the lobbying dollars spent? This was actually almost double in a way.
Which company?
Yeah.
Or which industry?
Yeah. What industry?
Industry.
Number one, 2018.
If I had to guess, I'm going to say
pharmaceutical, right?
Pharmaceutical healthcare. Yeah.
How much money do you think?
Oh gosh.
Fuck. Now you.
I don't even.
Get a guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it's billion. I would like $2 billion.
Just lobbying dollars, not like money spent. Because their total revenue. So they spent mind you, this is just giving money to Congress to sway and
$500 million.
$280 million. It's still a shit ton of money, dude.
I was swinging high.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
Those technically go to the campaigns.
Well, it goes to the political action committees, which then goes to the parties, which then disseminate it.
Getting all the laws
the dinners, it's just straight up money.
It's like title companies buying me dinner and taking me to play golf.
Let's call it what it is. It's legal money laundering. That's what
it's recruiting.
Yeah, it's recruiting. I mean,
that's legal. I get it, but it's legal. It's legal bribery. Call it what you want.
We need a quarterback. You're a quarterback.
It's
like you're a quarterback.
So we have insurance companies as number 2, electronics manufacturing 3, business associations 4, oil and gas 5, utility companies 6, real estate 7, hospitals and nursing homes 8, securities and investment 9, and then manufacturing distribution 10.
Until you knock all that shit out, you're not going to change anything. Right there, that is the quintessential.
So $3.4 billion, the total amount of dollars spent by all companies on lobbying in 1 year alone. Now, mind you, that how many of these companies are spending money to lobby to change the laws?
Mike D, can you help him out?
That literally they're spending that money, okay? Yeah. To lobby, and then the thing is that we want you to change it so you can give us a deal or to organize the laws that are better for us. But that's money they could have spent on their own people. Yeah. That's money they could have spent on infrastructure. So it's like, so this is the question I asked.
They're hedging their bets.
Yeah. So if these companies are buying our Congress for Congress to make laws that are only going to suit them better. So basically, they're not serving us; they're serving businesses. And business, let's be honest. I'm all about capitalism, but let's be honest. Company or the businesses in this country have held a gun up to the American electorate and the politicians for years, going, well, if you don't do that, we're going to have to lay people off. Well, if you don't do that, it's going to be communism. If you don't do that, we're going to be taken over.
Sure.
I mean, and it's all they've done, and so everything they use fear to get us to do it. But it's like, imagine if we were to take the same power and go, this company is lobbying these senators, and this is how they're making them vote, which goes completely against you, and it's bullshit. And you were to organize people to go, we're going to boycott those companies. We're going to boycott and make sure that person doesn't get elected. So the next person that runs for our district knows not only you're not going to get elected, even if you somehow do get elected, we're going to call you out in the businesses. If you are a business that makes people or that buys off a congressman to do something that's best for you at the expense of the rest of the people, guess what? You're whatever money that you were trying to gain, you're going to lose it tenfold. If anything, we're going to put you out of business.
Right.
Imagine the power the electorate would have on who gets elected, the how much money goes into the system with lobbying, what companies feel as though they can get away with. I mean, that to me is an awesome power, and why is nobody saying that?
People aren't that smart.
Yeah. Or I don't know if we're that smart. I think we're that distracted. We're the shiny object. How dare they fucking do a Betsy Ross, you fucking
race.
Yeah,
race.
I mean, it's just these intense things, and that they're getting us to hate each other and focusing on race and shit. It's like
instead of just being like, we're all going the wrong goddamn direction. Let's go that way.
Well, think about it. The Democrats were angry at the Republicans and Trump for going, immigration's not even a big issue. And now the thing is, all you hear is the Democrats talking about? Fucking immigration.
Dude, I saw a great fucking segment, and I can't remember which show it was on Fox News. Get your jokes in there, but well, everybody bitches Fox News, but
at least with Fox
News,
they
sent somebody out on the street.
They know what they are with them.
They sent somebody out on the street, and I don't think they played the actual video or recording of the quote, but they said a quote that sounded very Trump-like, very anti-immigration. And these folks, it was this college campus or whatever, and these college students were all, Trump, he said, this administration is so racist, da-da-da-da. Then they played it, and it was Barack Obama in 2014. Yeah. And they're like, oh my God.
That's the thing. And that's how topsy-turvy.
14, not 09.
Dude,
14.
That's the thing that's so crazy is that what was left is right. What is right. I mean, somebody said literally 5 years ago, that was so 5 years ago. I'm like, dude, no, the war has really changed.
Well, I remember back in the day in the 90s when they had, prisoners were being referred to as super predators. Remember that by, I believe it was the Clintons.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, these super predators will no longer be allowed to prey on the victims on the street, and we're gonna put them in prison with these mandatory sentences and blah, 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 blah. And then fast forward, 2 decades later, and now all of a sudden, the same people that were saying that are now championing for these people how they're such victims. And I'm going, wait a minute.
How could we violate their rights when they raped a little girl?
It's so messed up.
And it's like, this has nothing to do with this, that, or the other. This has to do with the crime at hand and what you did. I don't care where you come from. I don't care, what you look like or what you do for a living or anything like that.
But you can't.
You do these certain
break
things.
The law.
I don't care who you are. Like, that's why I can't be in charge. We would have a lot. Like, you think it's tough now, man. Boy, oh boy. I'm like, I couldn't be in charge.
The crackdown would be coming.
Oh, it would just be, this is your third time jaywalking? Okay. I'll tell you what we're going to do this time. No, but I mean, but it just.
Next time you cross that street, I'll break your fucking
There wouldn't
knees.
be so many second chances. And I know it sounds kind of tough to say, but It's like, what do you do?
How else do you get somebody to stop?
Well, I got to say, one of the, you hear me talk a lot of trash about the state of California, but one of the things I think they got right was the 3 strikes and you're out policy.
So this is interesting. All right, so like, I'm just going to pull up, like, so there's like, this is what's amazing is that all this data is out there for people to look at, right? So I put Mitch McConnell. Okay, I'm like, all right, so who has he taken money from in the last year? Okay, so number one was called the Blackstone Group. It was 397,000, and then individuals of that gave 351,000. Okay. Healthcare Group gave $257,000. Humana gave $216,000. UPS gave $200,000. Brown Foreman, whoever that is, $192,000. Another
UPS?
Elliott Management, $183,000. Goldman Sachs, $183,000. Citigroup, $177,000. Blue Cross Blue Shield, $171,000. JP Morgan, $160,000. I mean, it's like this even of. See, of all these companies, right? And I guarantee if we were to sit here and go Nancy Pelosi, go back and forth, one, you're going to see they're giving money to both sides, right?
Yeah.
And number two, it's like, imagine if we took this group, right? So, for example, Mitch McConnell, let's be honest, the guy has not exactly done shit for healthcare, He just wants to repeal anything, but I don't even know what the guy stands for with anything.
Well, okay, my question on Mitch McConnell.
Probably passes that.
But, well, the thing is, look at, though, you gotta look at, Humana, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Altria Group, Eli Lilly. I mean, sit there and go, like, if we could find out all this about all these people and mysteriously go, wow, they all voted for in ways that really completely benefit them. Imagine if we sat there and boycotted. Millions of people were able to boycott every single one of these companies going, we're putting on notice. You take money from these people and vote for these people, you're out. Not only that, we're going to go, everyone that gives money to you and you vote that way, we're going to boycott that company and cost them $30, $40, $50 million. Imagine the power the American electorate would have. And why is it that we don't have? I mean, Trump was one of the.
We can't agree.
Well, this is where.
Why does Mitch McConnell always have that dumb look on his face?
I don't know. I always thought he had
80 fucking years old.
I thought he had a chromosomal abnormality. I thought he had like fetal alcohol syndrome or something.
He looks like he belongs in Area 51.
I know.
Every picture I ever see of him.
His face looks like it's weird. Like, I don't know, man. It does kind of look like a mask. But I'm just saying, like, now, it might be illegal, and this is where we'd have to.
You boys ever see Nancy Pelosi?
Oh, God, dude. I mean, they both look, let's be honest here. They are both the most evil people in the world. And they need to go out.
You know what? Maybe they're having an affair with each other.
Oh, God. Oh, man. That's just nasty.
I'm just saying. It makes sense.
I didn't even think about that.
Just
leave it to fucking Bill Reed. There's something wrong up there.
Talk about a bombshell.
The doctor's right. There's something wrong north of his ears. North of his ears.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm not going to get that.
Oh,
man.
Oh, a lot of loose. Yeah.
What was it?
With her loofah.
Just as Adam Sandler, the wrestling in mayo. That's just awful. But this is the point. It's like, I don't understand. Like, why is it you don't get any congressmen instead of like AOC and all these morons getting up there and like saying dumb shit? Why don't they go, once you turn your Twitter army on them? Going, hey, you don't like so and so? Well, they're doing this, and that. I would boycott them.
Yeah.
You don't tell me like 20. I don't get it. I just don't get it. How we can be that dumb to where we'll unleash that power on one area, then act oblivious in the other area. Going, what can we do? We're stuck.
Yeah.
I know that we're. It's like, do the same fucking thing. It's like someone. Remember in oh God, it was a Naked Gun 33 1/3 where he like runs out to like this road and it has like a paver, like a steamroller, and he's like, no.
You're thinking of
Austin Powers. No, and it's going on for like 10 minutes. No.
Weren't both those movies, Naked Gun and Austin Powers, both nominated for Oscars?
I don't think so.
No, stop! And he's like 50 feet away.
But that's how it. But tell me, it's not like that. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. Our government's so corrupt. We're stuck with this system. It's like, no, like, remember you took down Nike?
We're not stuck with this system.
Remember when you got like 1.5 million people to run at a fucking military base with aliens potentially?
Just
with like
FYI,
with ray guns?
Here's what the official government quote is on that. By the way, they said that Area 51 is an open training range for the U.S. Air Force, and we would discourage anyone from trying to come into the area where we train American armed forces. the U.S. Air Force always stands ready to protect America and its assets.
Exactly.
It's code for real fuck you up.
We're gonna fuck you up. I dare you.
That's the nice way
go
of
for
saying
it. Go for
try
it.
us.
You think we have aliens? All right.
I'll show you.
Check
some
out my
aliens.
fucking death ray. You know.
Yeah.
It won't even leave a mark. You won't even hear
Spock's
anything.
gonna come down there and put a hurting on all you mofos.
Grab your shotgun. See how it goes.
Me and Bibble over here. We're gonna really lay the knowledge down.
Oh,
So this
man.
is where I look at. It's just that's where this week I was just like, when I saw you got 1.5 million people signed up to run, I'm like
1.7 for the record.
Oh, and it's like you get the William Woman March, you know, like.
Yeah.
2.5 we're gonna march on DC, and all people are the people that you're trying to get the change are just looking like you're a moron and yelling, right?
Yeah.
How about you go on social media and boycott 15 companies? Dude, that would have.
You're giving too much credit to people.
Hit him
People
in
aren't
the
that
wallet.
smart.
Hurt him where it hurts the
I
most.
mean, unfortunately,
I know. But if they're
you gotta figure you're dealing with 3 fucking geniuses.
I
in
know,
this
but the
room
thing
right
is,
now.
if you can
Well,
get,
you know.
but if you
I
can
don't wanna
get
brag.
people though, but couldn't you do the opposite? If you can get people to believe in doing the dumbest shit, you could. I don't know. It's frustrating, and it's like it's so apparent what the
What
solution
do you want to do
is.
about it? You want to storm Area 51 as well?
No,
but for
fuck
different
that.
reasons, just to be like.
So here's what I'm advocating. All right, so if we're gonna summarize it up, right, I say you do a good analysis. You look at all of our congressmen and how they voted. And I'm talking the type of voting where you may not have a smoking gun, but enough of it to kind of go, well, you take money from these people and you always vote for this. And we all kind of know there's what you say. Oh, no, this is actually going to help you. Like, all right.
We have to reduce your benefits, but in the long term.
Yeah, it's like, come on, right? It's like, so it's kind of like taxes, right? The middle class, we get fucked any way you look at it, right? Our taxes pretty much go up.
Right.
So it's like, all right, who are all the assholes that advocated for the corporate tax code to be what it is? And go after those companies and boycott them on Twitter. You go after all the congressmen, take money from them, and go, you're going to be voted out, and we're only going to support people that are going to go against this. I think that's a revolution, and that's a revolution that you could change tomorrow. If you can scare Nike to not do something, you could scare a lot of companies to go, oh shit, maybe the gig is up. We've gotten away with it as long as we could, but all right, we've pushed it too far. We can't get away with it anymore. Maybe we got to start like being fair, or at least like fuck them a little bit and use a little lube instead of just like giving it to them dry and convince them. No.
Or tap them on the shoulder.
No. This is that new
Just let 'em know
KY.
it's coming.
It's the new burning KY. It's for your pleasure. It actually tingles.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, no, there ain't no lube back there. I know that.
It's a good burn.
It's a good burn.
Think about
the tearing is good.
Yeah.
You know.
How bad or how much does Colin Kaepernick now have Nike by the balls?
It totally does. I mean, he hasn't like. I mean,
Because any product that comes out now, if he doesn't approve of it, he'll go to Twitter, he'll go on social media, he'll say, you know what, this is messed up, don't buy it, and I guarantee you, he will. A lot of people.
I guarantee if you're
So Nike's almost like in a weird way, like Dr. Frankenstein's monster come. And I don't mean that he's a monster, but I'm saying is you've given this guy, you know, all this power, which may or may not be good for your sales, but now all of a sudden, if you don't put out product that he approves of, that monster could turn on you.
Well, that's. I mean, it's. I guarantee if we were to get one of the execs, one of the product development reps in here, and ask them low key off the record, did you agree with what he said?
Yeah.
He'd be like, man, that's fucking stupid. But the reality was, we did a cost benefit analysis. We were going to lose $5 billion if we totally fought it, or we're just going to lose $100 million and still save face. That's what happened. And if you can get every company to go, all right, well, we had a good run. We totally bought the government. We totally, almost comically, were able to convince people things that were actually better for them were actually the worst for them. And they just now wised up, you know what? They still technically kind of need us, so let's just give up. You know it work. That's the thing. You know it would work. So that's why I'm advocating.
My grandfather always said, nothing is forever.
Yeah. So that's just what I think we should do.
Run.
So, I mean, Stelz, what do you think we should do with this? And that's my suggestion of, and we can turn it around that quickly. What do you think we do with this knowledge, seeing what works and how quickly it works?
I mean, I don't have anybody specifically that I would advocate to storm like Area 51 or boycott. I mean, most of the, like the Soros. I mean, where did he get his fucking money from?
I don't even know. A lot of these, I mean, it's kind of like the Kochs. They just made a lot of money.
Kochs,
I mean,
Kochs.
I think, I mean, any of those folks you go after. I say go after the leadership. I mean, go after Pelosi, go after McConnell, go after, you go after all the leadership. You go after all the big committee members, like the ones that are all like the most powerful congressional and Senate committees. The ones that are like making all the energy policies, war policies, spending policies, budgetary committees, taxation, EPA. You have to go after all of them and follow the paper trail.
Yeah.
Because eventually people are going to get sick of it. They have to. I mean, but I don't know. I could be wrong, as you guys think maybe I have too much faith in humanity. Maybe I do.
Maybe you do, buddy.
It's possible.
Well, it wouldn't be much of a gray matters if I put you on the couch and go, you're fucked. I can't say this. I'll take my money, but I'll refer you out to somebody else.
There you go.
I mean, Bill, what do you think? So, like, with this knowledge that we have, who would you go after? How would you sick this?
Well, again, the list that you had mentioned earlier, and I know you can't really boycott healthcare, or you can't, but there are actions and steps that can be taken to help curb these sort of, again, in my opinion, legalized bribes. And I don't know, I can't give you specifics of what we can do, but the first thing we have to do is we have to acknowledge the giant elephant in the room. We all know this is going on, no matter where your political beliefs lie. We know this.
Yeah, it's not a Republican, well, our side is good, but their side's bad. It's like, no, they're all fucking bad.
Right. You can't yell at the gun advocates who, pump in money while at the same time accepting money from somebody who does something equally in your mind is bad.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Well, I only cheated on my girl one time, but you cheat on her twice.
The once.
You're both cheaters. Or I cheat on my taxes, but only because you're still cheating on your taxes. Like that's how I look at it. People they try to resonate because nobody wants to be the bad guy. Everybody thinks
it's true. Yeah, no,
and nobody wants to vote for who they think is the bad guy. So I think they kind of have that built in. Yeah, but so and so. Well, no, they didn't do that because that's fake news, or no, they didn't do that because that's a vast right-wing conspiracy. Is it? I mean,
that's the biggest joke. They're all fucked. I mean, it's just my side's a little less fucked than the other,
yes,
or it's
exactly.
like, or I at least agree with them a little bit more. They'll at least whisper sweet nothings in my ear and take me out to dinner,
at least,
before they try to get my pants, Or at least they take me out to dinner while they're trying to fuck my sister, while we're out, it's really, it's like, that's what we gone to. Like, at least they take me out to dinner while they try to fuck somebody else, right? Like, that's the best that we got. Why I like one party over the other. It's like, come on.
You know what they need to do? They need to outlaw political parties. Outlaw them. Don't put it on the ballot. Not that it make a difference, but don't have it on there. There's some people that go in there and vote in the voting booth and vote straight Republican or straight Democrat down the line. Don't even look.
See, I would think you have to go that far because I think a lot of things are, well, if you can change this law, it's like you're not going to change it. The power of the people.
Outlaw
power of the
political
people.
parties.
Yeah.
There you go. Label them as a hate group. I don't care what you call them.
Believe
Label
it or not,
them as a
I
gang.
wouldn't go straight ticket. I've just never found.
But what I'm saying is, that's
just the way it goes.
People I've talked to who said, you know what, I don't look, I don't care, and I'm like, man, it's your right, but I just.
On bullshit things like the city, things I don't.
County auditor.
Yeah.
I know.
Then I'm just
like,
red.
I'm like, why do you even run on a political party? Numbers are numbers.
But if
are
Obama
numbers.
got up there and blew my fucking doors back, I'd be like, okay, the motherfucker's got it right.
Well, that's the thing. Like, this is why I love having your viewpoint, because there's been times where, like, kind of like all kiddings aside, there'll be like the joke. There'll be like wow, did anyone else hear that? I hope I'm not associated with it. Then you'll be like you kind of do the whole. But that is kind of a good idea, though. Deep down inside, even though on the outside you're pretty, hardcore, conservative dude, deep down inside you're still a man of reason going, all right, that's still kind of stupid. Or, what, like, all right, I'm not dumb. I'm not, like, blind.
No, yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not dumb enough just to say, hey, if it's, obviously if I'm uneducated on the actual issue, like, city something or other, I go red because I assume they're obviously smarter than the blue. But
it's cool to lean one.
But Trump, but I honestly don't. Everybody gets bent out of shape about Trump because he uses Twitter. I mean, they really find reasons to get bent out of shape about him when it's really not a very good reason, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's but that's just kind of where we're at. I mean, like, I guess where I get worried is that because of the power structure and how they're getting everyone to hate each other, is that there was someone on Twitter, it was a person's parent that we know, basically came out and said Democrats are a different race of people. And, if you're a Democrat, don't even follow me, don't friend me, I'm done talking. And Mike, that's you gotta sit there and go like, all right, when you're sitting there going, when we have one half of this country looking at the other half as like a different race of people,
I'll call them stupid, but they're more than willing to follow me.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, like, but that's where we're at. That's the collateral damage of this game they're playing. So then, while they go and play the game that they want to play, and they get us to rumble in the dirt, you're destroying the very thing that makes this country amazing, is us, Americans. There is no Americans anymore. There's certain types of Americans, and it's getting worse. It's getting further apart, and we have to stop it. If we can unite people.
It's like a team where the third baseman and the first baseman don't fucking get along.
Yeah, I mean,
that ain't gonna work.
Yeah,
he's gonna throw the ball and be like, "Why didn't you get up, you stupid?"
Yeah, this ain't Rich Kotite and Buddy Ryan on the same. Like, you can't have that happening.
We're just yelling at each other.
I know. It's like we got we've destroyed the fabric of our country. What country is there to defend when there is no united? Anyway. Yeah, we hate each other now, and it's like, it's sad.
I like you guys.
I like you. Yeah. Well, that's because we bring it to the grave.
I mean, we don't always agree on everything, but it's we dehumanize each other, and I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I place a lot of the blame, not all of it, but I place a lot of the blame on the media, who both the liberal and the conservative media, they know what they're doing. They do it for ratings. They do it for money. They do it for their own political gain. They divide us. They know how to do it. They know what headlines to put to get certain people to click. They know what they're doing. I mean, they're not stupid. That's a big portion of who I blame. I also blame us for being foolish enough to falling into this trap a lot of times.
But it's the truth, though, man.
We know that Fox News is a conservative network. We know that MSNBC and now CNN apparently is a liberal.
NBC, ABC, CBS.
Right. Yeah. I think while we are the
anything but Fox News.
I think where we're the fools is to believe that where I think we're the fools is for any of us to believe that we're going to get a fair news report on.
Glad you guys invited me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm happy you're here. So I'm really happy you're here.
you gotta look at them and just know what know the source.
That's the thing. No one.
I try to watch all those shows.
Do that, man.
If you really want me to bitch, ESPN has gotten too much.
Everything has gotten.
Jesus Christ! I can't watch a basketball game without getting. Somebody didn't stand for the anthem and all this bullshit. Just
just don't tell me about it. I don't.
I really like.
Why do I care? I want to know who won the game.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's just I
got a fantasy football team here I got to worry about. I don't have
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous, but and this is where I think at a time where we're so lost and so feeling like we're stuck, ironically within the last 2 weeks, it's like I can't tell if it like it's hopeful of going, oh my God, if we just focus this, we can make all that change like quickly. But then it's like, if we haven't realized it now, are we ever going to realize it? And then that's just the saddest part about it. It's so easy to make the change, but yet we can't get out of our own way. But I also know that if we just quit and give up, stop talking, no one's going to then figure it out. So I figure, we have to keep the conversations kind of going, and maybe we can kind of daisy chain some of these other topics and then steer it towards others. It's just, I guess we just need someone to unite.
Is that a Texas phrase that you just?
No, it's
daisy chain.
No, daisy chain is like when you have multiple batteries and you kind of tie a wire to all of them, so you make 7 batteries. One daisy chain it, right?
That sounds like a Texas thing.
No, that is not a Texas thing. That is what we call a thing of science. Okay. I know sometimes the conservatives don't really know that word. It's just this very thing that So this thing that we're on, the interwebs, that was made by science and research.
Yeah.
So it's a science thing.
Okay.
Science
thing.
Did you
know the internet?
I don't mess with batteries.
Did you know that the internet was invented by Al Gore?
I've heard.
Yeah.
It's science.
It's science.
I've heard.
So.
Oh man! All right, I think we did our job. I think we've made it. I think we made a good case.
Did we?
So I mean, we're here. We're still friends.
I feel like the listeners out there might be more confused than ever now.
Oh, I don't know.
Sorry about that.
I guess we'll find out. So I guess on that note, let's wrap this thing up. So I think we've figured out some important kind of things here. Number one, there is hope. Number two, any moron can send a tweet and boycott something, right? Even if it's a Nike shoe, even if it's fill in the blank, like La Croix water. We can take that, we can put it into something else that is actually going to make a change. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to go post on Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, every leadership person.
Who
I'm
may
going
or
to
may
post this
not
podcast.
be having an affair.
I'm going to.
I don't like to put my feelings on social media.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm going to throw that shit out there. I'm just going to see if we can get some traction going with this. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to at least do my part, right? But I need some help. The Twitter army, the Instagram army,
the Area 51
the
army.
Area 51 army, the Nike army. I need everyone's army. AOC's, I'm not sure I want her army, but you know what? We need all hands on deck. So if some of them want to join us, let's kind of do it, right? So I want to thank Billy Ray for making it here, Armchair QB.
You're welcome.
Stelzer. Man, my man, dude, we need that conservative voice in here to keep us honest, man. You got to bounce off some way. We need that in here, right?
Yeah.
And, of course, myself, Michael Devine, America's Counselor. So I thank myself just for being awesome and coming up with a show.
There you go.
And I thank you guys for listening. But I'm mostly just going to thank myself. Seems to work for Trump, so I'm going to start kind of doing it.
You were the first podcast in
One
history.
last shot. Seems to work.
One last ding. It's my show.
Jesus
I can do what I
Christ.
want.
I'm taking it.
The viewers love Mike, believe me.
But, gentlemen, hey, everyone. We thank you for joining in. And remember, next time someone asks you, you a Democrat? You Republican? You red? You green? You blue? Say,
Green.
fuck that noise.
Little green man.
My ass is gray. Or green. All right, everybody. You have a good evening. Trying to get arrested out Area 51,
Keep
all right?
watching the skies.
Keep watching the skies. The
truth
truth
is out there.
is out there.
Damn it.
All right, everybody. You guys be good to each other. Peace.